Hey, welcome to the show. As you can see, it's just me. Other guys are at the beach in Jersey Shore. Not sure if you heard. They left me. So I'm just here. But hey, I'm making it beachy. I got that's Asbury Park in the background where the guys are. I got a little beach plum drink here. And you're about to listen to a what we call a deep dive, which can be experienced on patreon.com/hardfactor every week. Every week we go in depth and discuss a topic, whether it's the lottery, whether it's torture, whether it's Benjamin Franklin, all kinds of topics that you want to learn about. And you can get in the Discord and suggest the topics you want to hear about. So go to patreon.com/hardfactor to sign up. You'll get one of those a week. You'll also get one Florida Man Friday a week, plus access to the Discord. Great community in there. So, please check it out. And, hope you enjoy. And,
Hello! Hardo Hive!
And fuck, I forgot to do the wheel because I wanted to hear Pat do the
I know.
Damn
As soon as he starts
already
yelling.
yelled it. Just hopped in.
No, it's never going to happen. Just forget it.
All right, well, next time. Next time.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah,
Probably make that happen
Well-
next time.
hopefully so. Hopefully, Pat. We need to hear you yell one of these days. The Hive needs to hear it.
Mhm.
And also, the Hive needs to hear today's deep dive. And you would have thought that we would have done this one a lot earlier since this person is a regular on segments of the podcast since the very beginning of the podcast. And you might think I'm talking about Macho Man Randy Savage, but I'm not. That one is still coming someday. Today,
Mhm.
it's Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
Elon
Elon's
Reeve.
world. Oh, Reeve.
Elon
Reeve is his middle
Musk.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
Look at that. Well, Pat's got the early years. Wes has PayPal through Neuralink, including a little company called Tesla in there.
Mhm.
Whoa,
Mhm.
ever
Never
heard of it?
heard of it.
And I've got his latest two creations, The Boring Company, and actually not his latest two. The Boring Company is one of his latest, and SpaceX, which is getting a lot of notoriety lately, but is actually one of his earlier creations. So.
Mhm.
Did you see, the people that were on Shark Tank, they have like a fucking, they're like social media gods. Like anything they do, it just goes viral on social media. I guess because they're considered to be experts. But Mr. Wonderful was speaking, like a cut down of Mr. Wonderful talking somewhere, and he was like, yeah, my son, said, hey, get in a Tesla, and I said, psh, I'm not getting in a Tesla. That's a car company that's worth billions of dollars. I'm short in that. And his son was an intern at Tesla. I was like, no, Dad, you don't understand.
Right.
It's a technology company. And
Ugh.
and then my ears perked up, and he was like, this is Mr. Wonderful's son. He was like, Dad, every time a Tesla makes a turn or stops at a stoplight or a stop sign, that data is being sent back to Tesla HQ, which is informing self-driving car technology. And I was like, whoa, that makes a little bit more sense. Because I was definitely on the, knowing nothing about stocks, on the short Tesla train.
Well, everybody was, and we'll get into that for sure. Elon's a hater of shorters, and he shouldn't be, though, because he's made all of them much more poor. Because a lot of people short Tesla, and as we're recording this, Tesla is breaking their all-time highs again.
But it's got to be. I mean, is it because of earnings though, or is it?
No, it's because of the new news about all the good shit happening with them.
Yeah. Germany, manganese.
I mean, in fact, after reading all of the success Elon has had over the last 2 decades, it's fucking mind blowing. Like when you think of when we get through this, realize that pretty much all of this in terms of the effort that he's been putting into the business has happened in the last 20 years. It's crazy.
So I don't think it's that. I mean, it is mind blowing, but it's not when you think about every once in a. There's not a lot of these guys. Bill Gates is one of these guys. Every once in a while, there's a guy who just if you believe in God or whatever you believe in, but if you believe in God threw a game shark in his brain effectively, right? Like he just can beat life, except for personal life.
Well, I mean, but he is besting people in his personal life. I've learned a lot of these beefs that we keep seeing in the news with him are deep seated.
Oh yeah,
at least
definitely.
at least with the space stuff. We'll get we'll get into that at the end. But he has decided who he wanted to beat in the space stuff, and he has destroyed them.
Yeah,
He's made some he's gotten lucky. He's made some really good investments, but he's also gotten really lucky.
For sure. Lucky,
you know.
and but also determination, because people would have given up on the space stuff. The start is very interesting.
Tesla too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it is weird to think about, like, so there are people. It's vision. He has vision, right, and confidence. And there are people that have vision and confidence.
Well, and endurance. He can take multiple years of horrible failure, and and he'll keep going through it.
That's important.
Yeah, like he doesn't.
He's like me.
Just like you.
Yeah.
It's just
it's great for hard factor. It's great for guys who, if you feel like you haven't gotten where you wanted yet, just look at Elon's early years.
Keep trucking.
Well,
yeah, just keep going. That's all he did.
So I've never
just like us.
I've never gotten to talk to like a I've talked to a couple billionaires. I've got to have a conversation with a couple billionaires, but they were like financial guys, not tech guys. I've never gotten to like hang with like a super brilliant tech guy. I have hung with some like regularly brilliant tech people and some fucking crazy people. Both, you can't understand what they're saying, right? But one of them actually has a shot and the other one doesn't. The fact that Elon had the vision, because the vision of what he had is fucking nuts, but he wasn't nuts. He's just sane.
He's ambitious. He's ultra ambitious.
He saw the online, his vision in online sectors was huge, and that's what really started his snowball of success, was his vision of online tech.
Right.
I don't know anything about that, so let's hop into it, right? Because I don't know anything about the early stuff. I just know about the later stuff after what we've researched. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at with the vision. It's like, there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, it's going to be huge, crypto, and it might be, it might not be, right? But like to actually like mortgage the farm, so to speak, to make something happening in an emerging space it's ballsy.
Yeah.
Oh, he is the most ballsy. Yeah. We'll get the SpaceX mission statement is insane when you think about the year he made it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's also crazy. I mean, everybody around him was probably telling him he was fucking insane.
He's nuts. All right, let's talk about Elon as a child. Elon Reeve Musk, June 28, 71. He's born in Pretoria, South Africa. His mother, May Musk, I guess maiden name Haldeman, she was a model, Canadian model. She was born in Saskatchewan. Look at this lady.
Hey, man, she's beautiful.
Well, she's a model. There's not a lot of models you see are like, damn, that model's ugly.
Canadian model.
That's an ugly model.
So did he have dual citizenship then?
So he ended up getting, we're going to get to that. That's actually a pretty important part of his life, is getting his Canadian citizenship to get out of South Africa. And I'll explain why in a minute. But he ended up applying for it. I guess you're not born with it if your mom is just Canadian.
I thought you were.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, you can get it. I don't know the ins and the outs of that. But
apply the paperwork, whatnot.
Yeah, lots of paper. So yeah, Elon was born in South Africa, and I mean, a lot of the early stuff that's been discussed about him is specifically related to his father. I mean, like even before I did this deep dive, and I know a lot about Musk, but didn't know much about his early life. But would you guys agree that Musk and his father is just kind of in the cultural zeitgeist? Like you just know there's something with Elon and his father, right?
Something weird, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you think there's like
it's well known, like
Well, to for somebody to be as successful as him, he's got to have a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
And so what was that chip on his shoulder? I'm guessing is that his dad? Is that
so? Okay, so it's pretty interesting, man. So obviously we know Elon's like a fucking nut job and he's a troll, and somehow he figured out how to unbald himself. But there's really pretty conflicting reports about his father, right? So there's a book written about his father, which I guess a lot of the information about his father is known from that book, but the author has come out and said, like, man, this guy's a contentious asshole. Or it was the book about Elon where he, the author dug into his dad a little bit. So there's conflicting information, but I'll give you both sides of it. So his dad, Errol Musk, okay, South African electromechanical engineer, also a pilot. Sometimes he's listed as a sailor as his occupation, which is very different than electromechanical engineer. Consultant, property developer. He was once a half owner of a Zambian emerald mine near Lake Tanganyikas.
He's an Ultraman's man. I already know exactly the kind of guy you're talking about. Like I've been duck hunting with guys like this. This is a guy like one time I was in South Louisiana and we were duck hunting, and there was a guy who was drinking like Captain Morgan out of a handle straight. But then he was like talking about like high level engineering, and then he was like fixing the boat on the fly, like at like while he was getting hammered at like 6 a.m. And just like making you feel like such less of a man than this man who could all like he's talking about he could fly planes. He's like, you know, he's fixing the boat, he's driving the boat around, he's taking you to the best spot for the ducks. Is that kind of a guy?
So he's that, but he's very
orders for the table,
but he's abusive. Yeah, he looks like and this is funny because his wife's a model. He looks like an uglier version of a guy that would be in a like the Dos Equis guy or some sort of like man's man.
But look at that leathery skin. He's constantly outside, just manning off on people.
I can see the sailor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And that's my point. It's very different to like have sailor listed in your hobbies versus occupation. You
got to list sailor when you look like that. You just can't leave it off.
Okay, I definitely get the pressure Elon feels now after seeing his dad and hearing about him.
Yeah.
So so the general knowledge that people have that there's something weird about Elon's dad is true. So the emerald mine thing is interesting because there's a lot of debate online of whether or not Elon came from money, and Elon contests that I did not come from money. Which if he did, obviously everyone would prefer to not come from money on paper, right? Because from like a clout perspective, no one wants to be like, oh, you're a rich kid that got it handed to you. No one. The richest of rich kids will tell you how hard they worked for it, even though they didn't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if he did come from money, then I don't know why it's part of Elon's narrative. Why the richest man in the world needs to have that as part of his narrative, but he does. Anyway, so his dad owned half a emerald mine. Whether or not that made cash for him, who knows? He's got his younger brother Kimball, who again we're going to take credit for this.
Pat, I bet I know why. Because he doesn't want to be associated with his father.
Right.
That's why he doesn't want people to say he came from money, because he just doesn't want people to associate him with his dad.
It could be. I would buy that. And I'm really pretty disappointed here, guys, because no, I think we have one. So when we first started Hard Factor, I was looking for things per PFT's advice. He's like, start beef with people online. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I saw the Musks, and I was like, well, Elon's not going to interact with me, but maybe Kimball will, his younger brother Kimball.
Right. And remember this, when you tried to go on, he's shorter than he lists.
Well, he's okay. First, so if you Google Kimball Musk, there's something that comes up, and if you don't know about this, I think it's called the knowledge graph of the knowledge panel on Google, right? So to the right, it's like the little cheat sheet that pops up with fast facts, right?
Little quick information, whatever the internet agrees on.
Exactly. Here's a little inside baseball. This is a fun game to play. Most people have not claimed their knowledge panel. And if you have a knowledge panel and someone hasn't claimed it, you'll see at the bottom, claim knowledge panel. And really anyone can do that. So like you just would have to create a fake email that purported to look like it was the person whose knowledge.
Kimball Musk.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you go to the knowledge panel, it still says the first fact you get from him is, his short Wikipedia header, when he was born, and then his height, 6'4". So I saw that and I said, is he an athlete? That's weird. Why would your height be so prominently displayed in your knowledge panel? That's weird, right? And then, so I started thinking to myself, man, if he's not an athlete and it's so prominently displayed, he's fronting. He's not 6'4". So I did some comparisons. I started tweeting at him, and his height has subsequently been removed from his Wikipedia page. It still exists on the knowledge panel, but I had a Wikipedia expert friend go back, and we, in fact, were the cause of him removing the height.
Really? That's awesome. Well,
cool.
Wonderful. That's good investigative journalism, because that would mean he was 4 inches taller than his brother, who's listed at 6 foot, but probably more like a 5'11", saying he's
major
5'11"
guy.
And then he's about 200. So if Kimball was really 6'4", he'd be a big boy.
Yeah,
because Elon's not a small man.
Yeah, no, not at all. Anyway, Kimball absolutely not 6'4". Elon also has a sister. She's a filmmaker. But I guess you could call it that because, Elon produces her movies, which is fine. Technically, still a filmmaker.
I mean, Elon pays at this point. At this
You gonna
point,
turn down Elon money? No.
No,
Yeah.
you're going to take the Elon money.
at this point, Elon pays for everything. He's gotten his dad back and then some. I'm sure he's bought his dad a yacht that his dad doesn't like.
Probably bulldozed his childhood house.
Right.
I'm just saying. Yeah, no problem.
He bought his dad a yacht called Emerald Mine, half in it, the other half of the Emerald Mine.
Half a shitty
Bitch.
Emerald Mine.
Parked it in front of his house.
So, according to Wikipedia and according to a couple of their articles, Elon was wealthy, or the family was wealthy growing up. Elon Musk once said, quote, "We had so much money at times we couldn't even close our safe." So again, keep in mind, we're going to hear more of this guy, but he's a fucking dickhead. So is he lying? I don't know. It must be hard if you're a dickhead, if you're this leathery son of a bitch, to have your son be like the richest man in the world. Here's young Elon and Kimball, by the way. Look at those two guys.
Wow.
Kimball got the looks.
Kimball did get the looks.
Right. This is what it was. Elon was just Errol never thought that Elon was going to amount to shit. He thought Kimball was going to be the man, and then he just read it wrong.
He doesn't look smart.
It's a Ron Howard, Clint Howard situation. It's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Errol was just always shit talking that kid, and then he turned out to be Elon Musk.
You better get smart.
Mm-hmm. So Elon's parents got divorced in 81 or 80. So I think he was 9 years old, or 79-ish. And he lived with his father mostly after that in Pretoria and elsewhere. It says a choice that he made 2 years after the divorce and subsequently regretted. So I guess he became estranged from his father. Elon has described Errol as, quote, "a terrible human being. Almost every evil thing you could possibly think of, he has done." Let's talk about that. So in an interview with the Sunday Mail, Errol admitted that he's a philanderer, saying, quote, "I had a very pretty wife, but there was always prettier, younger girls. I really loved..."
That's funny how that works.
Yeah, "I really loved May," his wife, "but I screwed up." And that
They all loved emeralds.
Yeah, they all love emeralds. So who are these other
Got
girls?
this pocket full of emeralds and all.
What am I going to do with them? You want one?
He was kind of, I guess, who he was talking about there was his stepdaughter, who he banged, Jana Bisenhout.
Errol banged a stepdaughter?
And they had a baby together.
Oh, okay, that's bad. Yeah, I mean, Elon can. Okay, that I don't.
Woody Allender?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. It says in a move reminiscent of Woody Allen.
You know, Elon doesn't have to. He shouldn't have to claim he was poor, but he should be able to not claim his dad after that fact.
So that happened pretty recently. So at the time, Errol was 72 and the woman was 30.
Damn.
I guess.
So
Errol,
Elon called it then. He was like, "Look, this guy's trash. Look what he just did."
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. So also apparently, whenever this is from Elon's book that someone named Vance wrote, I don't know the first name of the author. Whenever the topic of Errol arrives in conversation, members of Elon's family clam up. They're in agreement that he's not a pleasant man to be around, but have declined to elaborate. And I guess what he said. Well, this is what Elon said about the Emerald Mine in 2019. People were talking about the Emerald Mine on Twitter. Again, it's a hot topic of debate whether or not he's a rich kid.
Right.
And Elon came back and said he didn't own an emerald mine, and I worked my way through college, ending up $100,000 in student debt. I couldn't even afford a second PC when I was at Zip2, so programmed at night and website only worked during the day. Where is this BS coming from?
Well, I do believe that he probably didn't have access to his dad's money when he was in Canada, right?
So perhaps, but it also says that they lived in like one of the nicest houses in Pretoria by far. Oh my God, Sarah.
It sounds like I don't want your fucking money. Fuck you. I'll do it on my own scenario.
Even though he did grow up rich in South Africa.
He could have had money, but he didn't want it because he just wanted to say, fuck you, Dad. I don't need you.
Because that's what happened, right? I just know that he went to college in Canada, right, Pat? That's
yes.
Yeah.
So he graduated from Pretoria Boys School, and I guess he thought it would be easier to enter the United States from Canada, so he applied for a Canadian passport through his Canadian-born mother. And while he was waiting for the documentation, he went to University of Pretoria for 5 months, which allowed him to avoid mandatory service in the South African military. So that's pretty huge. He moved to Canada in '89, lived with his second cousin in Saskatchewan, worked odd jobs, lumber mill, and then he went to Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. 2 years later, transferred to UPenn, Ivy League school, graduated in 95, Bachelor of Arts, degree in economics, Bachelor of Science, degree in physics. Geez, Elon, chill out. So, but right before that, and then he went to his internship, which will lead us to his early business life. But here's some facts about Elon as a kid, which I thought is pretty interesting. So he described his childhood as difficult, obviously. But I don't know. He said that he was not only the youngest and smallest kid in his class, he was much nerdier and more into books than any of the jocks at school.
I believe that.
He said a gang of boys would sometimes hunt him down, going so far as to push him down a flight of stairs. In one instance, sending him to the hospital. He told
South Africa. Have you guys ever been there?
No.
Okay, so I've been, as somebody who's been there a few times. If you are a South African, you automatically are tougher than most Americans because you see shit in the streets that Americans do not see on the most part, in terms of violence. And so, you know, in terms, I believe that. And also all the guys play rugby. So if Elon was a nerd and all the guys play rugby, they're all just a bunch of like, they're like speaking Afrikaans and shit. And like, we're going to push you down the stairs again. And then they just fucking, you know, like, I mean, I'd believe
beating up the ugly kid.
It's definitely a macho environment in terms of like, if you're at a prep school in South Africa, I'm sure that the guys are going to be very jockey like that.
Yeah. He said that he was, quote, almost beaten to death on a 60 Minutes interview. I guess him and Kimball traveled around to wealthy parts of South Africa, early entrepreneurship, selling homemade chocolate Easter eggs. They would sell the sweets for 20 times the cost of making them. Elon said, quote, I'd make them for 50 cents and charge $10, maybe South African dollars, for an Easter egg. And I'd always get this question like, why are you charging $10 for this little Easter egg? This is Kimball. Him and Elon were doing it together. And I was like, well, you're supporting a young capitalist. And the reality is you don't buy it from me, you're not going to get one. And I know you can afford $10. So, they were hustling early. Elon was so introspective as a kid that his parents thought he was maybe deaf and had to get him tested. Turned out that he wasn't deaf. That's good.
He always claims that. He's always talking about how he just is in another world.
Well,
like
he
has
said that,
Asperger's or some shit.
right, when he hosted SNL.
Yeah.
Wow, when your brain's like a computer strength, I guess so. I mean, whatever. We believe people believe he doesn't. He should. I agree with Pat. He needs to stop coming up with these narratives for himself and like explaining himself. Like, who gives a fuck, Elon? You're one of the most successful guys in the world. Just be yourself. I think he's scared to come off and like a dick like his father. He doesn't want, you know.
Right.
He's probably scared to become that guy.
Probably.
He's kind of a dick. Throughout his childhood, he, I guess, read a ton. He said he was raised by books and then my parents. He reportedly read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica at age 9 and would pore over science fiction novels, comics, nonfiction for like 10 hours a day. Some of the most influential books he read, Lord of the Rings, Hitchhiker's Guide, and Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. At 12, he coded his own game and sold it for $500. 12-year-old Musk built a Blast Star, science fiction inspired game, similar to like Space Invaders, kind of. And he sold it for an easy $500 to a South African trade publication who published his source code. He was a D&D master. And at 16, along with
he's
his
just one of these nerds, like anything he touches, he can do. Right. But it's like he's like an athlete, like a natural athlete that can play any sport except with a brain, with nerdiness, with science and math and coding. He's just a natural. He can just do it all.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the natural.
Okay. All right. Sorry, my mom keeps calling me. I want to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah. If you need to take a call. Pat, I have I don't know how far you got, but I have starting with Zip 2.
Yeah, okay,
Zip
cool.
2.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to talk about Kimball as the time goes on because he kind of just like falls out of the business.
Yeah. After Zip 2, he's gone.
Okay, so at 16, he tried to open his own arcade with Kimball and his younger cousins. I guess they got the idea from their high school. They got as far as signing a lease. They set contracts together, filled out forms in the city planning department, but their plan got foiled when the city told them they were too young to get a real estate permit without adult sign-off. And guess who flipped out? when they brought up the arcade.
Oh, Errol.
Errol. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Errol didn't like
Errol's
it.
not happy about any of this. Errol is a big time hater. I could just tell that about Errol. Is just a hater.
He's a hater. Yeah.
He grew up with the ultimate hater, rich ass hater as a dad.
Yeah, he's a real piece of shit. So yeah, then and as I went over, he got to Canada, right, and then got in some. Well, hold on, real quick. Errol also killed some people. I want to talk about this.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
I mean, unsurprising when you talk
In the
about
Emerald
a guy,
Mine.
Yeah, Emerald
no.
Mine, Sailor. Come on, like of course he's killed somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So
dumped him at sea.
How many you got?
Errol Musk's, this is according to the book written by Vance about Elon. Errol Musk's family lived in South Africa so long that they, quote, claimed to be an entry in Pretoria's first phone book. Yeah, anyway.
We were one of the original enslavers.
Right. In a 2017 profile of Elon in Rolling Stone, Errol confirmed that he was involved with some killings. So according to Errol, he shot and killed 3 people who broke into his house in Johannesburg, a crime for which he was reportedly charged with manslaughter, but eventually got acquitted on self-defense charges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only ones that they know about.
Anyway, that's early Elon. Yeah, he got over to Penn. He got like 19 degrees and then got an internship in 1994, which I believe led him to Zip2.
So did he ever say, Pat, before we moved to the businesses, just to close up on the dad, did he ever say that he left there to get away from Errol? Like, because he left, like, you know, in like early college, right? After he had stayed with his dad after the divorce. And so he left, like, to go to his mom in Canada. Did he ever like mention?
No, he didn't go with his mom in Canada. I guess his mom was
he was
working.
with his cousin in Saskatchewan, but
Yeah, he took advantage of his mom's citizenship, but he
Okay.
got out. So, like, you know, he was born in 71, right? So, like, about 9, 10, they got divorced, lived with the dad for a couple years,
like
then
8 years. Yeah.
starting to get into business a little bit, and then I think he realized his dad's a dick and a little bit abusive, and Elon got out as soon as possible.
Okay.
But that 8-year chunk or whatever where he was just getting his ass kicked by his dad, I think that's where the relationship fell apart, so to speak.
Probably also where the genius was made too. So it's probably like weird.
It's like a real Kendall Logan Roy relationship. It sounds like.
Except reverse.
If Logan was the kid and Kendall was the dad.
Well,
Mhm.
I mean, Errol would want to have Elon and his brothers under his foot, but Elon said, "Fuck you. I'm going to do my own thing because you're."
He had to move continents though.
Yeah.
to get out from under him. Which
Right.
is,
Hey, are you and some buddies going to go on a beach trip without one of your close friends, and you're not sure what to wear? Well, let me tell you, I've got the product for you. Mizzen in Maine. So if you're sitting there and you're not sure what you're going to wear while your friend is at home working and doing ad reads, you need to go check out Mizzen in Maine, the inventors of the performance fabric dress shirt, okay? Mizzen in Maine combines the comfort and flexibility of your favorite athletic wear with the fit and style of a custom dress shirt. Lightweight, breathable, and moisture wicking, Mizzen in Maine's clothing will have you looking great. Plus, their dress shirts are machine washable, so you can skip those trips to the dry cleaner. Think of all the time and money you'll save. You could, go out to dinner at least 5 times while you're on vacation without your friend. On a hot day in Washington, D.C., Mizzen in Maine founder saw a guy running up the hill in a sweat-soaked, wrinkled dress shirt and thought there had to be a better way. Since then, they've set out to make the most comfortable and looking great the new normal. They were the first to use performance fabrics in their menswear, and 10 years after starting, they are still the best. I actually ordered some of these shirts for my second gig when I'm working. Next time the guys go away to the beach without me and I've got to stay back and work. These are moisture wicking, so when I'm in the hot Texas sun, keeps me dry and looking great. So I highly recommend them. With work from wherever being the new normal, I love Mizzen in Maine. Fits with whatever my work situation will be in 2022. And did you know it was Mizzen in Maine's 10th anniversary in July? I mean, 10 years, 30,000 5-star reviews. You know they're good. I used to wear those stiff dress shirts to work every day. I've legit never felt a fabric like Mizzen in Maine sent us before. It is amazing. I'm so thankful I found Mizzen in Maine. It's amazing to not have to go to the dry cleaner. Mizzen in Maine just turned 10, so they've got a great deal running on their site all summer long. Right now, if you go to Mizzen and Maine, that's MIZZEN ANDMAIN.com and use promo code HARDFACTOR, you'll receive $25 off any regular price order of $130 or more. That's $25 off when you go to MIZZENANDMAIN.com and use promo code HARDFACTOR, and pick out some nice shirts for when you go to the beach without your friend. Thank you. Okay, cool. Let's talk about his first million, pretty much. This is where it all started, Zip2. It was a business venture. It was funded by angel investors. Not sure if that means maybe some of Errol's money. I don't think so, but
no, Silicon Valley VCs, I think.
Yeah, he started with Kimball and Greg Corey, and like Pat said, he couldn't.
So he did everything.
Yeah,
he had two guys who were breathing next to him,
right,
and then he made the rest.
Like Pat said, he coded 7 days a week. He rented an office instead of an apartment, so he slept on the couch of this office that he rented, and he showered at the YMCA. It was a online city guide software for newspapers. So, like New York Times contracted him.
He was living that style then. You know what this is? Yeah. You know what this is? He got in a fight with his dad. And he told him he was going to do this and like shove it in his face because he still lives like a poor guy today. So there's something going on there that.
Well, his dad hung money over his head his entire life. That's right. That's what it was.
But right. So he's got like an unhealthy relationship with it. He's the richest man in the world, but he lives like he's like not. He doesn't live like it. Apparently, that's what Grimes says.
But then what's weird is he's very much like right. So I read you the tweet where he said that he definitely didn't grow up wealthy, didn't own an emerald mine, right?
Right. See, that's all like, but you can tell his head's not in the right place at this.
But right now, when it's widely known that he's the richest man in the world, right? Previous to that, there's more instances. What he said that in America, I was living really cheap. He was determined to live on $1 a day by buying bulk food.
Right. Yeah. Grimes talks about it.
But you don't say that unless you're like, and now things are better. You know what I mean?
Unless you're like obsessed with it. He's got an obsession with it. He's got a thing going on. He's like,
he thinks money's evil because it made his dad evil, probably.
Right. So,
so what was Zip2 exactly? What's a city guide software?
So, like, I think it's kind of like a do 512 kind of like a guide to what to do in the city. Like what's the other fucking major one that I'm not thinking of?
The Eater, like Eater.
Yeah, Eater. Like you look up restaurants, you look up what to do, sites, attractions, that kind of thing. So that's what it was. And he wanted to be the CEO. He wasn't the majority shareholder of this company, but he was basically, like Will said, doing most of the work, coding it, getting the website up, all this shit. And he wanted to be CEO, but they didn't give him CEO. Eventually, that company got sold to Compaq for $307 million in 1999.
$307 million?
$307 million. Yep. And Elon got 22 mil out of the deal because he owned 7% of the company. So he that was his first, big break.
Big payday.
Big payday. So now he had money, right? He no longer needed these angel investors. So he went on to found X.com, which is the one of the first federally insured online banks. It had, big money. It had like 200,000,
22 million. Yeah, and then that's insane though. Like most, he's special.
This is a big one for him because this is how he got into PayPal. So,
real quick, Wes. This is so funny because like you describing Zip2 as potentially like the do stuff model, right? Which is a broken model. Like it's a terrible business to like when we started getting into business. It was terrible business to do any sort of localized business where
you gotta remember that was 90.
No, exactly. But then it was very smart to do it. Like that window only existed for a little bit.
Was around back.
It's like TripAdvisor,
right? Which is kind of dead now, and it will continue to die as more people share things.
Old people love TripAdvisor.
That's
old
true.
people do love TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
They don't go anywhere, but they love TripAdvisor. They don't read about
it. they like to know that they're staying in a 5-star Hampton Inn. First, one of the first federally funded insured online banks. A lot of people joining, and the investors didn't see Elon's brilliance. They replaced him as, I guess, CEO with Intuit's CEO by the end of the first year. And then X.com merged with Confinity, which was another online bank, to avoid competition. And Xfinity are the ones who owned PayPal. So that's how he came into PayPal, is between that merger of X.com and Confinity. Confinity was founded by Peter Thiel, who is the big name behind PayPal. So it's funny because Peter liked Linux as an operating system behind all the technology. Elon was a Microsoft guy, and the two got into it. It caused like this big rift between them. Thiel resigned over the rift, and then they found out that he was actually right, because they ran into a bunch of technological problems by using Microsoft. Linux was the play all along, and it caused technology issues. So Elon was ousted and got replaced back with Thiel.
At X.com.
Yeah, at the merger PayPal,
right. But then they all just cashed out at the same time, basically, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So Thiel is actually the real genius behind PayPal. He saw its brilliance. He took it off, and then in 2002, it was acquired by eBay for 1.5 billion in stock. And Elon was still the largest shareholder, so he got over $100 million from that buyout. And
so he's already at like a 150 mil now earnings.
Yeah. He's already well on his way to, he's got whatever the fuck I want money.
Well, that's death money for us, but why does he keep going?
Yes.
Because I mean,
because
do the rest of his businesses, but he founded SpaceX, even though we're going to talk about it at the end because it's doing the most right now. He founded it right then.
Man, I would love to have seen. Man, remember how much hesitancy there was with any sort of e-commerce or online banking in the early days of the internet. Like,
no one trusted it because they didn't think it was secure.
I remember like going to my dad, because I had like an eBay store and I needed a credit card to put down if you're a seller. So I was like, Dad, can I put this down? He's like, well, no, they're going to steal my information. It's going to get stolen.
Oh yeah, my dad still writes fucking checks on the coffee table for like bills. He didn't, I mean, it's crazy.
Right. Oh yeah,
he still mails out checks for his electric bill.
Dude,
like what the fuck? What the fuck are you doing, dude?
I feel like my parents just transitioned to all their bills to electronic like within the last 6 months.
Do you remember Sundays when your dad would labor over to the kitchen table and get the fucking the mail and the checkbooks out?
Yep,
just sighing.
Yep. Like breaking out the pen and the calculator.
Yeah,
we're paying for Showtime.
Licking envelopes.
Daddy,
what is this? Yeah, what is this on the MasterCard? Yeah. God damn it. Give me your card. God damn it.
Talbots.
Constantly. You're right. Every Sunday. Or once a month. So actually, like Will said, he got into space in the space realm in 2001. We'll get to that later. X.com. Later on, he bought that domain for sentimental value in 2017. I guess because that was like his first big breaker. I don't know what it was. Anyway, so
was his idea, the X.com thing.
Yeah. I mean, he was early on the online banking. So moving to Tesla. Tesla, prior to or contrary to popular belief, including mine, was not founded by Elon.
No.
I thought he was on the ground floor. He was not. It was incorporated in July 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpening.
Sounds like those guys are fucked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they're rich, but
he made him rich for sure.
Yeah, he made him rich. So
they found a good chairman or CEO when they picked him up.
Yeah, so Elon didn't have anything to do with them until February 2004. They did another round of investing, and that's when Elon jumped in for only $6.5 million and became the majority shareholder and chairman of the board. So for a cool $6.5 million, he now basically controls everything. But he wasn't on the business side of things at first. He was like doing design, like he kind of like got nerdy with like the design of everything, like the cars and stuff. That's what he was interested in.
But he like bought his way. So like
he bought Tesla basically.
Well, you're doing a fundraise, right? Like
it's a round of investments, yeah.
Right. So okay, hey, we're doing a round of investment.
He big dicked him, and he
bought himself a job at the that's weird.
Bought himself a company.
Yeah, a chairman seat.
He's now chairman, so he owns. Chairman is
and majority shareholder
over the CEO.
I've only raised money a couple times, and it's always been for film. But like every time you're raising money, like the main thing that you want is the money and not the person. You don't want the person to come with you. I wonder what
Yeah,
that was
but when
like.
it's
Well, I mean, look
when
at
it's
Shark Tank.
Elon
That's
Musk,
what they love. They love
Right.
when people come.
and
with
when
them.
it's Elon Musk, these guys made
Yeah.
the right call, because then they can just sit the fuck back and let
Right.
Elon do the rest.
Let Elon
Like-
sun them and sideline them.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
hey, make your money though. I mean, that's the thing is, sure, I'm sure a lot like Kimball, he didn't have to work, you know, like all he had to do was just stick around his brother for long enough to where he was a billionaire.
You think they pronounce it Kimball or Kimball?
I would call him Kimball. I feel like that's more badass.
I feel like Kimball is the way they say it, though.
Kimball. That's how
Kimball.
they say it. Kimball.
Kimbo. Anyway, so like I said, he wasn't involved in the business side of things very, in the beginning. And then, of course, conflict. There's a lot of conflict around Elon throughout his entire life. It's just a theme is conflict.
Dude, and especially him going Microsoft, like obviously retrospectively we can look back and say like, what? Like anyone who does any back end, it's Linux always.
Yeah, but this is the reason. You'll actually see at the very end why he's always stuck with Microsoft and why it's paid off in the end.
Yeah. So anyway, there was another it was a financial crisis and conflict, and Eberhard was ousted by Elon. Elon became the CEO.
Cutting people out.
See ya. So he became the CEO, lead design architect in 2008, and he just was now just really running the ship. He was sailing that ship. So, and then a lawsuit in 2009 with a settlement with Eberhard designated Musk as Tesla co-founder, along with Tarpening and a couple other guys. So, 2008, the first Tesla hit the streets. Here it is, the Roadster. If you remember that, I don't see a lot of these around anymore.
It's because they're powered by batteries. So he's a co-founder asterisk.
He's not.
No,
well,
not even.
Technically, he's not.
Straight up bought it.
But you just said that they had him
in the
legally.
court in the court because I guess of the financial crisis. I guess maybe he was able to buy out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's co-founder asterisk.
Right. But he didn't. He didn't found it.
He bought his way into being the co-founder. He
was 9 months late.
Yeah.
From the start of the company or whatever, 8 months late. All right, time for our second break. It's getting a little hot out here. Let me take another sip of my beach plum. Feels just like I'm at the beach, I got to tell you. Today's episode is also sponsored by Private Internet Access, the most transparent VPN provider on the market. And this is just the software you need to protect your digital life. You might not be aware of this, but even if you browse in incognito mode, you're not safe online. Your internet service provider is still storing your browsing history, and can sell it to advertisers. But Private Internet Access encrypts your internet connection and hides your IP address, protecting you. And all you have to do is connect to one of their 1,000 servers located in over 80 countries, and even a server in each U.S. state, so you can avoid sporting blackouts, for example. Plus, be able to get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content streaming platforms. Private Internet Access has a strict no logs policy, and it's 100% open source. It's also available for all operating systems, and one subscription can protect up to 10 devices at the same time. If you want to start securing your digital life, I have a special deal available for you. You can now get an amazing 82% discount on Private Internet Access. That brings it down to just $2.11 a month. And you also get 3 months added to your subscription for free. So, since Private Internet Access comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support, it's all risk-free to you. So, head to privateinternetaccess.com/hardfactor and get Private Internet Access today. That's Private Internet Access, and access for all you dummies is ACCESS.com/hardfactor. Thank you, Private Internet Access, for sponsoring today's episode. So, anyway, 2008.
You don't want to be early Tesla, right? You don't want to have bought the 2008 Tesla, probably, right?
Oh, no. You do. That's a collector's item. Trust on that, because look at he's making the Berlin factory just opened. He's got a China factory. This guy's making cars, a lot of cars.
Yeah. So 2,500 of those are sold. And it was the first production all electric car to use the lithium ion batteries. We know how those batteries have caused some issues now. 2012, he rolled out the Model S. which is like what you see on the roads a lot now. The basic Tesla.
That's the classic. Yeah. That's probably the one that most people think of when they think of a Tesla.
100%.
The Model S. Yeah.
And then the Model X, which is like the crossover with the car doors that wing up, and then the consumer friendly Model 3, which is like, the Tesla for every man. And then of course, he's
That's
got
the one you've ridden in. That's the one everybody's ridden in.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So by 2020 March, 500,000 Teslas on the road. He's got a Model Y coming out, the Cybertruck, a bunch of like the ATV, all that shit.
All delayed though.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't know if the ATV is.
When Biden made the announcement of essentially like that he's doubling down on electric cars, and finally the major automakers are moving towards electric cars, there's just an absolute battle that's developed in the Congo over cobalt.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And like just a fucking nuts battle.
Yeah.
And the Chinese effectively own everything over there. And
most of Central Africa.
There's an American company that sold out. An American company had a cobalt mine the size of Los Angeles, and they sold out to the Chinese when Trump was doing the coal fundraise.
But the reason that Tesla's stock is so high is that he's looking into new manganese powered batteries, which you don't
a
have
whole other element.
Yeah,
he's cutting Asia out of the supply chain, which is what the government should be doing, but the government instead hates Elon both during this presidency and the second half of the last presidency. So the government's just always at odds with Elon. So
Tesla stock, obviously one of the most successful in history. 2010 IPO, $17. The highest it ever hit was 1,209 in November of 2021. Right now, it's hovering about 1,000. So not bad. Market cap of $1 trillion in October 2021. Only the sixth company to do that. And then let's talk about the SEC issues with Tesla. So back in September 2018, Musk was sued by the SEC for this tweet, claiming, he says, "Am considering taking Tesla private at 420, funding secured." And the lawsuit by the SEC claimed that discussions with foreign investors did not confirm a deal. It was misleading, false, damaging to investors, and they wanted to remove him as CEO.
Also, obviously a joke.
Of all publicly traded companies. They didn't want him to be ahead of.
I know he was. I mean, he was serious about wanting to take it private, and we'll get to why he does when we talk about the Boring Company and SpaceX. But I think that's a joke. But it wasn't gonna happen.
He kept going with them.
If you had put, if you'd bought 1,000 shares of Tesla at the open, 17 grand, you would have made roughly $1 million.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty
Not
good.
bad. Not bad. So they fined him $20 million, him and Tesla each. Then more problems with the SEC. He says he doesn't regret posting it. And then in February 2019, he stated in a tweet that Tesla would build 500,000 cars in 2019. And this was in violation to the agreement that they supposedly had about what he's allowed to tweet, what he's not allowed to tweet. They went back to court to, make sure that everyone understood the agreement. And
I love that era of Elon versus the SEC. Elon's tweets versus the SEC was a great era.
Yeah. So they listed a specific list of topics that Elon would not need to.
He told them to suck his cock, right?
Yeah. Well, they basically said, if you tweet about this, this, and this, and this, you need to clear it with us first. So where am I? 2020. They tried to do it again. A judge prevented a lawsuit that claimed another tweet regarding Tesla's stock price, quote, too high, in my opinion, violated that agreement. Nothing really happened. He won, basically. He beat the SEC. He had to pay a fine, but they stopped fucking with him.
Which was probably in the end a good win for freedom of speech, right, for business people.
I mean, this was going to happen with the SEC. Market manipulation rules were defined before. Most people had thousands of people that they could reach with social media on a whim, right?
Right.
Yeah. It needs to change for sure. I mean, you seen what he did with Doge and all that shit. I mean,
he is a little shady with the planned attacks on certain. With crypto, he's very shady.
Look at that tweet. It says SEC, 3-letter acronym, middle word is Elon's.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's politically, so politically here I got his note here. Politically, he's a free market businessman, he claims, so he donates to both parties and asks them to only regulate his opponents. He's publicly fought with both of the past two presidents. He's Biden's never liked him, and Trump he was on a Trump committee at first, but then withdrew after Trump withdrew from the Paris Climate Accords. And so then he got into a beef with Trump. So he's been in a beef with both of the last two presidents. The candidates he's endorsed for president are Andrew Yang and Kanye West.
Yang gang.
And then, but ever since he's left California, he's definitely turned a little bit more conservative. His last interview was with the Babylon Bee.
Yeah. One more thing.
Was it an actual interview? I didn't know.
Yeah, it was like a full-on interview. Yeah.
One more thing before Will gets to SpaceX, kind of like another little shady thing that he did. So he acquired this energy company to start the solar Tesla energy company. He acquired Solar City, and they were in financial trouble. And he didn't tell, I guess, the shareholders. Tesla's they were facing liquidity issues, and Tesla shareholders were not informed of that when he purchased it. So the stock dropped 10%. There was lawsuits filed against Musk and Tesla directors that the purchase was done solely to benefit Musk and came at the expense of them. Let's see.
He was trying to make like the solar roofs or whatever. It didn't work out. It was probably a pipe dream that he fucked up, and it was bad for the company. So
yeah. It looks like they found that he was unaware of this. It was settled in 2020. But
he's made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Oh, he's made a lot of mistakes. And then Neuralink and all this other, nothing really happened with that quite yet. They put it in the pigs, blah blah blah.
It killed the pigs, right? Or killed the monkey.
Did it kill the monkey?
I think it killed a monkey.
Yeah.
Oh, the Neuralink.
Neuralink killed a monkey, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely killed a couple.
Pretty sure it's killed some monkeys.
I'm sure it's killed a lot of animals.
Yeah. So the Neuralink, so far, all it's done is kill animals, and he said that thing was going to change the world. So
yeah, no,
take it with a grain of salt. What Elon tells you.
In a way, it did. I mean, for those monkeys,
it changed their world.
Yeah,
big time.
Yeah.
Taken with a grain of salt is a good transition, because let's talk about SpaceX. That's Musk's first true love before Tesla, after Zip2 and X.com. He founded it, like Wes said, right after he got all those millions, right after his second payday. When PayPal came out, he founded Tesla or SpaceX in I think 2001, 2002, one of the two. But not nearly like the storybook rise of Tesla, because SpaceX is not something that people wanted to succeed. Tesla, everybody's rooting for him with electric vehicles and renewable energy and all that stuff. Tesla is very much different. In fact, from SpaceX, very different. In fact, from 2006 to 2007, it was said that Elon was having night terrors from multiple failed rocket launches on the Falcon 1 rocket. So this is old school Elon here, marketing his original rockets.
Elon.
Back in the mid 2000s. The Falcon 1, 3 times he would launch the Falcon 1, SpaceX's original rocket, and 3 times it would fail to reach Earth's orbit.
Can you keep calling it the Falcon 1 though? Isn't the Falcon 2 and the Falcon 3?
No, it's just the same design. So he had to.
It's like a model of a car.
And what's interesting, I was going to say it at the end.
No, this is the one. Mulligan.
He mulliganed. But on the 4th time, fellas, the 4th try in 2008, the Falcon 1 became the first private liquid-fueled rocket to break that seal and reach the Earth's orbit. And since then, Elon has basically taken over everything in space. That led to NASA funding him to make the Falcon 9 rocket that now performs all commercial resupply missions since 2012 to the International Space Station. That was a Roscosmos contract he took, which then led to the research and development, that contract, of making the Falcon 9s reusable. Google and Fidelity hopped in to invest at that point. And that was first successfully done in 2015 and is still unmatched by any other space programs, to my knowledge. Which then, after he proved he could do that, led to the creation of the Boring Company in 2017 and the Falcon Heavy, which launched a Tesla into deep space in 2018.
Whoa.
is now on its third trip around the sun, which then after that launch and like PR stunt led to the rebranding of the Big Falcon rocket to the Starship, which as of 2020 also now takes NASA flight crews to the ISS as well, much to the chagrin of Roscosmos, who lost that contract also to SpaceX.
What if we launched a Tesla into space? What if we did that?
Yeah. And
Wouldn't
so
Car on top.
Yeah.
And so Roscosmos, an interesting fact here, he's also Elon SpaceX has been launching Starlink satellites to give Ukraine internet after it's been cut off by the Russians during their invasion. That system is still under development in low orbit, but it's been being built since 2015. Guess who his partners are now that just stepped in since he's shown, some success with it?
The Russians.
Google and Microsoft. His old buddies. Yeah. So basically he is dominating space. SpaceX is based out of Hawthorne, California, but maybe not for long. Florida and Texas are definitely expanding with both the launch sites in Boca Chica and obviously Cape Canaveral. The goal of SpaceX has always been from day one to make space travel affordable enough to get to Mars. So like, think about him telling you that like you're Elon's buddy, right? In California in late 2001. And that's the mission he lays on you. I mean, what do you think? Like everybody must have been telling him like, dude, you're fucking insane.
Well, I mean, that's a
People still tell that.
That's a great question. Like if he let's say he never hit it with Zip 2 or whatever, right? And he never got a taste of what it's like to hit a home run, or at least, be successful while being bold and forward thinking in technology and get money. Maybe he's never Elon Musk. I mean, like there's something true. There's a reason that a lot of artists come from rich families, and that's because there's a safety net in case their art doesn't work out, right?
Right. He's willing to shoot for the moon.
Effectively, after you succeed once, you maybe are like, oh yeah, fuck it, the moon's next, right?
Mars in his case, yeah, which is crazy.
Kanye.
I just think it just speaks like that kind of like the fact that he made all that money. Like you said, Pat, most people would be done after that. They'd be like, I'm going on vacation.
22 mil. The first I've been done after 22 mil.
He's at 150 at this point. He just cashes in on PayPal's buyout. And his first thing is, all right, I want to make space travel cheap enough to make it to Mars. It's like, it says a lot about who he is. It's a very, very different person, very unlike other people. But here's a funny thing about why he started SpaceX in the first place. He needed to build his own rockets because he took a trip to Moscow, to Russia in 2001 to try to buy a used Russian rocket. But nobody would sell him one that he could afford. I am sure the Russians very much regret that now, because basically Musk has been such an effective spacecraft designer and builder that he has supplanted not only all the traditional Beltway aeronautic consultants like Boeing and Lockheed for the space programs, he's also supplanted entire nations' space programs and made them literally obsolete, like Russia's Roscosmos. He basically himself is the current technology curve of space travel, Elon Musk by himself. Yeah. And I mean, he's literally killed Roscosmos. Like he has beaten them. They wouldn't sell him a rocket in 2001. And in 2022, he has taken all of their jobs.
Who is the company that sent the latest Russians to the ISS? The ones when they showed up with the Ukrainian flag.
I don't know who sends the Russians, but SpaceX sends all the Americans. Right. So and the Russians used to send the Americans.
Okay, gotcha.
And I think SpaceX probably sends the ESA too, European Space Agency. But for sure NASA astronauts. But anyway, so SpaceX actually existing, which is one of the only companies that he is founder and owner of and is not public, which he likes. The other one is the Boring Company, which started in 2017, kind of as like a little bit of an offshoot of SpaceX. And it's probably a long play to eventually take us down to the giant blobs, which may be where Elon's from, right? Because like that's below Africa, right? So think about that. But the stated goal is improving tunnel networking capabilities in the United States of America They started in Los Angeles making like travel tunnels and flamethrowers for 2017 and 2018. But now they're mostly working beneath Las Vegas. It's called the LVCC Loop 2 or Loop, sorry, LVCC Loop system. And so like the first section just opened up, and they're hoping to have it cover everywhere from Raider Stadium, the Strip, and the airport, and then but potentially expanding it over the next 50 years as well to include like under UNLV. And so basically, like Vegas is giving boring
subway.
Yeah, it's a subway. But the thing is, it all, Wes, depends on this Prufrock tunneling machine. They have this like patented tunneling machine. It's like mostly automated. They claim it tunnels faster than anything else, and it's more effective, more economical. And they also believe that using electric vehicles inside the tunnels is cheaper and more efficient than trains. And so they need some time to really prove that out. And I guess Vegas is giving them the shot to prove it.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, just like, especially the SpaceX stuff. Like I get like we didn't cover, a lot of the accusations of malfeasance at his companies.
Yeah.
But it is impressive how
Grimes.
How effective of a businessman he is. But yeah, there's definitely people say that both at SpaceX and Tesla that there's culture issues for sure.
I mean, it's how many people work there. There's going to be culture issues.
He reminds me a lot of Steve Jobs, like that's another guy who was the smartest dude at Apple, but he kept getting replaced as CEO because they couldn't handle his like intensity.
Yeah, Bill Gates was recently asked about the similarities between Jobs and Musk, and Gates was like, Jobs was a design genius, and he was really good at putting people together and hiring the right people for the job. Musk is a engineering genius, so like his technical ability far outweighs what you'd consider technical ability with Jobs. But
sure.
I think their similarities are that they're like driven and unstoppable.
Visionaries.
Don't want to step in their way, sounds like.
Yeah, man. Well, hell yeah, Elon.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think though? After like, what's your thoughts on Elon?
I like Elon. I do. I like Elon.
I do.
Yeah,
too.
same. I mean, I think that it's hard. It's. I think that he generally. I think he's a little Asperger's-y, right? He's got like definitely some issues, and it comes off. But I don't think he's generally a piece of shit.
I think he's trying to be better than
he's under a microscope.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you put anyone under a microscope, you're going to find some shit.
Yeah, and as long as he's trying to be better than Errol, which I think he is, that after learning more about him, that's a good. It's a good goal. Here's also some more stuff that will make you think he's kind of cool. Personally, he has 7 living children with 3 different mothers. I mean, I don't know if you think that's cool, but he spent roughly 10 years with each of the moms. The first one in Canada, second one in England, the last one in California. His first son, Nevada, sadly died of SIDS at 10 weeks old in 2002.
Jesus.
And Johnny Depp, this is the coolest Elon fact. Johnny Depp has accused Musk of cucking him with Amber Heard as well, while Elon was also married. So when Johnny Depp's publicly accusing you of making him a cuckold,
it was Elon that shit in his bed.
Yeah, that's a good feather in your cap.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean,
good for him.
Good for him. I didn't realize until reading about all the SpaceX stuff how much of a beef he's got with Russia, but they pissed off the wrong dude.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, yeah, guys, that's the Deep Dive Hive Hour. That was fun. Stay tuned next week for the same. And, of course, Florida Man Friday at the end of this week. Hive trip coming up. We'll make a post in the Patreon tomorrow. So if you're not in the Discord and you want to potentially come to Florida with us a couple weeks, hang out, we'll make a post in the Patreon and outline the details. But effectively, we're going to Treasure Island weekend of April 8th. So start planning. We're gonna just hang. But yeah, that's that, and have a great fucking day.
Hard Factor. Cheat on the news. Patreon.com/hardfactor.